This is just a quick check-in video about those two articles that you read about language and global English. Sorry, I'm being attacked by a moth. So a lot of students did a great job, at least so far. I've only looked through about half of them, on that first sentence of the rhetorical précis, that sentence where you include some context, so where the article was published originally, whether it's the Sentinel or a blog for linguists. That's really important, right? And that'll also tell us something about the intended audience, and including the title of the article in quotation marks and the author's first and last name, and really the main idea of the argument in all its complexity. I noticed that some people struggle with the purpose sentence in particular. That can be a tricky one, right? Remember, the purpose sentence, the third sentence, should include the why. Why is the writer, the rhetorician, making this argument? And it should also include an in order to. And that in order to should have something to do with the purpose. That sentence can be long. You can use a semicolon, or you can use subordination, turn one clause into a dependent clause. If you have a lot of ideas, that's fine if the sentences are long, but you do want to stick to that structure. And then many people were doing a great job of including the audience sentence at the end. I think Nadira and Jessica and Valerie in particular had great audience sentences. What I liked about those sentences, remember that's the fourth sentence of the rhetorical précis, is those students were including why that's the intended audience. So if you're going to say for why and when we speak Spanish in public, if you're going to argue that the intended audience isn't just Spanish speakers, but it's also people who might not understand why people speak another language in the United States in public, you'd want to explain why that is, right? After all, the title is Why and When We Speak Spanish in Public, and there are lots of references to our and us and we. So why would it be that you see the audience also as English speakers or people who are not bilingual, or even people who have unfairly judged others who are speaking a second or even a third language? So be really specific in your audience sentence. Make sure you include why. And that might also tie in, like I said, to where this article was originally published. I also enjoyed reading your discussion posts about the two articles. It seems like so many students in this class are bilingual. There are also some students who speak up to 4 languages, I guess actually 5, including English. So I thought that discussion was really fascinating. I encourage you to go back and look at your classmates' posts. I commented on many of your posts because people had some really great ideas and they were connecting the articles to their own lives. So thank you so much for posting on that discussion. We are transitioning into talking about different models for argument, the Toulmin model, Rogerian model. Something to kind of be aware of is some of the assumptions that this essay rests on. So as you read it or as you go back and reread it, you might think about what are some assumptions that could use a little bit more support. For example, if you don't speak a second language, when you are reading Why and When We Speak Spanish in Public, you might say, well, she's sort of taking it for granted that people actually are judged for speaking a second language, because if you've never been kind of told off for speaking a second language, you might think she's making an assumption. You might need her to prove that actually people do say terrible things sometimes to those who aren't speaking English in public, right? So that might be a place where you think about the Toulmin model and how some assumptions could be backed a little bit more. Obviously, she published this in a newspaper, so there isn't time, but you might start thinking about assumptions behind both of the articles and how those assumptions might be supported depending upon the audience. Okay, so I hope that helps. Thanks so much for posting. Talk to you soon.